Hello my beautiful fragrance family, Dustin here, fragrance fan. Go ahead and do me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification, and I'm just going to keep on giving you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews. That $40-ish $100 range, most of these are way less than that. A good number of these you can find at your local rack stores. Found this one at my local rack stores for $9.99 for the 30 ml, and by no means a new fragrance. This thing has been around the block. This thing has been probably on most of your guys' shelf at one point or another. So without further ado, let's get into the classic Guy Laroche Drakar Noir, the original flat black finish fragrance. This thing's old school. A lot of people absolutely love this thing. Some very, or at least a very, very well respected reviewer, this is up in his top favorites. So hopefully this is a good video. I gotta do this thing some justice, right? So this is very classic fragrance, very classic. So it has a very classic feel, a very mature feel. Up top, you get this awesome dose. I mean an awesome dose of this citrus rosemary combination. There's a little lavender, but it's mostly the bergamot and some lemon with that rosemary. Is just a magical kind of an opening. The mid has these wonderful like jasmine and geranium, and it almost has like a soapy feel. Once you get past that opening for like the first couple of minutes and you start getting into the heart of this thing, it starts becoming kind of soapy feeling. But it also has some heavy notes. It's got like your cedar, it's got your leather and stuff like that in this thing, giving this thing an amplified masculinity to it. It's somewhat fresh, but at the same time, it's heavy and confident and powerful. I would want to say, and I still really want to say, this is more of a mature fragrance, and it's not going to be for people that are under 25. But it's hard for me to say that because when I first smelled this thing, I was like at Walmart or something like that, and I'm going around like smelling the different fragrances when I was in there, and they had like preferred stock and this on there, and I loved preferred stock, and I really dug the way that this smelled. And guess what? My mind hasn't changed yet. It was a while. It's been a while since I smelled this thing. A few years anyhow. And when I picked this up and sprayed it, I was like, yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I love this thing. There's something unique. There's other brands that have kind of like touched base with this one, kind of tried to mimic it. It's not even a really expensive fragrance, but it's such a good profile that other fragrances have kind of been inspired by that, but they just don't hit the mark like this one does. I think it has something to do with that bergamot rosemary, the combination between those two in the opening, and it stays there. It doesn't just like disappear. It becomes a little bit less dominant, and of course your heavier notes start to come out a bit more, but it never loses that touch from the top to the mid to the dry down. It stays like that the whole time. It's just, which is a really cool experience in a fragrance. Also, it's cool when fragrances morph, and the mid and the extreme dry down is just as good as the top, and it changes and stuff like that. But sometimes you want that fragrance to stay smelling the way that it does the whole time, and this one stays similar 75% of the time, but never loses any of what makes Drakar Noir Drakar Noir. I'm going to spray it again because I like this thing, even though the bottle ain't big. Yeah, it's got that soapiness. Bergamot, rosemary, soapiness with the leather and the woods and the base. There's all kinds of notes in this thing. Lots of them. Old school fragrances tend to have a lot of notes. So I'm just kind of going over the key players in this thing, and those are what I pick up on the most. Like I said, the citrus, rosemary in the mid, it's like the jasmine and the geranium in the base, the cedar and the leather, to me are some of the more dominant notes in this thing. But the other ones do play a role and just kind of assist in all of those things, in my humble opinion. So fresh, spicy, soapy, citrusy, woody kind of a fragrance. Not quite oriental or anything like that, but yeah, fresh, spicy, soapy, woody fragrance is what I get out of this. So longevity is also pretty good on this. You'll get, me personally, 6.5 hours all day long, easy, maybe even more. Some of you guys are probably going to experience some beast mode performance with this thing. I can't really see anybody saying they get less than 5 hours out of this, because I don't think there's any reformulations or anything like that. And if people are saying they get less than 5 hours, I have kind of a hard time believing it. But, you know, everybody's experience is different, so I can't say they're lying, you know. So overall rating, what do I personally think of this overall? I give it a 7.5. To be honest with you, even still today, this thing is still relevant. Even still today, you can get compliments with this fragrance. 7 just on the scent profile, 7.5 because of the extra performance on this thing. Solid 7.5. Awesome classic. One of the best classics still today, in my opinion. I think a lot of you guys are going to agree. Some of you guys are not, but I think most of my audience is going to agree with me on my overall assessment of Guy Laroche's Drakar Noir. So, seasons to wear this, pretty much any time of year, pretty much. It'll be a little bit heavy for like really hot weather, but other than that, this thing is quite versatile. It's definitely classy enough to be dressed up, but also just it's easy enough to be just, you know, doing it everyday wear. This is signature scent worthy still, I think. So, I mean, it sounds like I'm really hyping this thing up, but I think it still kind of deserves it because, yeah. And the intense version doesn't smell anything like this. I do want to pick up that one. It's also awesome smelling. So, yeah, right now, that's my final thoughts of Drakar Noir. With that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always. And until next time.